meeting to order on this 21st day of August, and would ask that you would stand with us for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I pledge allegiance to the flag of Michigan and to the state for which it stands, two beautiful peninsulas united by a bridge of steel, where equal opportunity and justice to all is our ideal. Sandy, could we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Shippers, Spolman,
Here.
Ingalls, Meinhardt,
Here.
Mayor Folkins.
Here. Okay.
Okay. Mayor and members of the City Council need to make a recommendation regarding this evening's agenda. Due to there being 3 members here and not 4 or 5, there are 2 items on this evening's agenda that we just simply need to postpone and perhaps just table till our next meeting. Those items include under adoption of ordinances and resolutions, item B, which was the request to adopt a resolution amending the General Appropriations Act. This was with respect to consideration regarding refinancing some general obligation bonds that we have. It is not an issue at all. We can simply do this in a couple of weeks from now. And then the second item was with respect to the plan to close session for this evening. Again, we can simply do that briefing at our next meeting in September, which is on Tuesday, the day after Labor Day. So.
Okay, thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda with the amendments as presented, the postponement of those 2 agenda items that we need a supermajority to have present to have.
Support.
Councilmember Spolman,
Yes.
Ingalls, Meinhardt,
Yes.
Shippers, Mayor Folkins.
Yes, motion carries. This time, we'll open the floor for any public comments. We do ask if you come forward that you would let us know what your name is, and then if you would write your name and your address for the clerk, it would be greatly appreciated. Seeing no one, we'll close public comment and move to the approval of the consent agenda, which this evening includes the minutes from the regular meeting that was held on August 7th, along with the closed session that was held on August 7th.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second?
Councilmember Ingalls, Meinhardt,
Yes.
Shippers, Spolman,
Yes.
Mayor Folkins.
Yes, motion carries. So this evening, we have some communications and then some appointments.
Being recommended to approve the closure of Lake Street between Pine Street and Chapin from 6:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. and the closure of Lake Street between Harris and Chapin from 6:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. on September 2nd, 2017. Also, the closure of the lakefront parking lot from 3:30 p.m. on September 1st to 2 p.m. on September 2nd for the Festival of Races.
Is this the same request they've had in the past, or is that an additional closure of the, like,
I think it's the
It's the
same.
same.
great race?
Glad
And it's a community race. It's run by community people. It's been here for a really long time. I will make a motion to approve the closure of Lake Street between Pine Street and Chapin from 6:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. and the closure of Lake Street between Harris and Chapin from 6:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. on September 2, 2017. Also, the closure of lakefront parking lot from 3:30 on September 1 to 2 o'clock p.m. on September 2. All of this for the Festival of the Races.
Support.
Councilmember Meinhardt?
Yes.
Shippers? Spelman?
Yes.
Ingalls? Mayor Folkins?
Yes, motion carries.
Being recommended to approve the reappointment of Robert Levan to the Corridor Improvement Authority Cadillac West for a 4-year term to expire on June 3rd, 2021.
Mayor, I have a comment
Okay.
that I'd like to make, if I may.
Uh-huh.
As city council members know, this authority board is in need of getting a resurgence of interest from the authority area itself. The board itself has, I don't believe, met since it was created, and that's frankly because of a lack of interest from people stepping forward and looking at volunteering to be members to the board. That being said, along with this reappointment tonight, I wanted to mention that the city is considering working with Networks Northwest, the Regional Council of Governments, on a technical services grant to frankly take a look at this whole area. And while it may sound funny when I say that it hasn't met yet, now we're looking at maybe expanding it, possibly whether or not we can expand it and include other jurisdictions as a part of it. That is certainly going to require some legal review as well. But the idea is perhaps we can partner with some of the neighboring townships to include a greater area within that corridor with many other businesses. A lot of the business activity that's out that way is not in the city's border, not within the city's limit. Maybe this will help be the spark. And so we're working on getting a grant to help us walk down that path. So I just wanted to mention that as part of this item.
Wonderful. So he's being reappointed. Did they just disband?
No,
Okay.
just the term has just simply ended.
Okay,
So-
because, normally we can see when he first started serving, and that's why I asked that question. So-
Okay, probably 4 years ago.
Okay, all right. And I think this is really timely. I've just had a couple of different conversations in the community where people are really interested in
good.
that very project out in Cadillac West. So, yeah.
All right. I'll make a motion to approve the reappointment of Robert Levain to the Corridor Improvement Authority, Cadillac West, for a 4-year term to expire on June 3rd, 2021.
Support.
Councilmember Shippers? Spelman?
Yes.
Ingalls? Meinhardt?
Yes.
Mayor Folkins?
Yes, motion carries.
It's also being recommended to approve the appointment of Carl Holder to the Cadillac Wexford Airport Authority for a 2-year term to expire on August 21st, 2019, and Mr. Holder is in attendance.
When I looked at the application, I looked at the credentials and I saw that there was a lot of,
Come up to the microphone.
experience related to fire, but I couldn't see the airport connection, especially in the, on your resume with the interest. You talked about train travel. So tell me how you think you're a good fit on the airport authority.
Well, with my years' experience in fire service as well as the training aspect, I've had some training with the airport community, very little, but it's been minimal. And my thought is to represent the city on this authority. I can learn from that as well, help the community learn as well about the airport authority.
Do we have another city rep on this? No.
We do.
I thought
Oh,
Fred
I'm
Osborne
sorry.
was.
Fred is on it.
Okay.
But we did have two, and he resigned.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll make the motion to approve the appointment of Carl Holder to the Cadillac Wexford Airport Authority for a 2-year term to expire on August 21st, 2019.
I appreciate you stepping forward. I wanted to say that earlier, and I'm sure you'll be a good fit. I second that.
Okay. Thank you for your willingness to serve. Okay.
Councilmember Spelman.
Yes.
Ingalls. Meinhardt.
Yes.
Shippers. Mayor Folkins.
Yes, motion carries.
Okay.
All right, that takes us to the city manager's report.
Yes, thank you, Mayor and members of the City Council. This evening, I am very proud and pleased to announce that the City of Cadillac has been notified that it is subject to receive the maximum grant amount through the United States Department of Agriculture Rural Development Grant Program in the amount of $50,000 for the market at Cadillac Commons. This agenda item this evening does not require any action. This is a requirement per the grant award guidelines from the federal government that we publicly notice this, which we did 10 days in advance, that we provide an opportunity should anyone be here this evening that wish to talk about this item from the public. So I would ask you when I'm done speaking to please ask that question. And simply advise what this is about and a little bit about the project. And so as I believe everybody here does know, for the public record, just to state it, the market at Cadillac Commons is going to provide an open-air structure for a farmer's market, for the Made in Michigan artisanal and farm market, for other markets that perhaps don't exist yet today, and other multi-purpose type facilities and functions, whether they're public or private even, to be at that facility. This facility is a multi-purpose type facility. The farmers market, or the market at Cadillac Commons itself, is located in the Cadillac Commons area. Will be right off of Cass Street, immediately adjacent to the east from after 26 and Ambets, and directly across the street on the south side from the City Park and the plaza at Cadillac Commons. The purpose of this grant is to fund amenities. This grant cannot be used specifically for anything with respect to the building of the structure itself, but rather for funding amenities to that structure, equipment to that structure. And so based upon the grant amount and based upon what some of the anticipated costs are going to be, the top two amenities that we're looking at using these dollars for include weatherproof roll-up or drop-down sides, so that should the weather or the wind turn inclement, there'd be a way of providing some creature comfort to people that are in there, as well as radiant heating. We certainly hope and desire that this facility is not going to only be used in the summer. This facility, with the radiant heating and with the weather drop-down sides, should be something that could be used, basically, 3 out of the 4 seasons. The only other general information that I would like to mention is that the groundbreaking for this will be on Monday, September 18th at 4:30 p.m., right on the site. And so it will be perhaps a brief ceremony, but a ceremony nonetheless, and we certainly encourage anyone from the public interested in coming on out. So,
Marcus, do you think this facility will be big enough to accommodate some of those festivals like the craft beer festival, or isn't it big enough for that?
I would say that the facility itself will be big enough to be a part of the Craft Beer Festival, the art festival, and other festivals that come into town. Perhaps not big enough as being the only tented or structural facility as a part of that. I don't recall the exact dimensions, but I believe that might be about 120 feet long by about 60 feet deep, give or take a little bit. The Craft Beer Festival, as a for instance, they used several tents that I would believe, when you add up all that space, is larger than what this facility is. But certainly, as events continue to look at downtown Cadillac and the Commons area as the focal point or the epicenter for their activity, I would believe that this facility could become a part of that mix and could certainly be a part of these events in the future once they can get a good lay of the land and take advantage of it being there. So certainly.
Well, I think especially if it has sides and the ability to
Right.
be heated,
Right.
and keep
It-
people out of the cold.
Right, and it could even be like a second stage area too.
Right,
So that they could have entertainment going on,
yeah. I was
in
thinking
the
of that,
park, but then
too.
have a second stage where you could have a different sort of
Mhm.
music going on at the same time, so they could expand.
Or concerts later in the season.
In
because-
fall,
Yeah.
There's lots of wonderful opportunities. So there's, as a second stage opportunity, just sort of as an FYI, there are now performance speakers installed at the plaza itself. And so there's the opportunity or the ability for pop-up musicians essentially to come in and connect and be a part of that as well. So there's really a lot of positive things happening downtown.
Well, this is great news to hear that we
Mhm.
received this grant. It's
Yes.
really nice.
Yes,
Yes.
yeah.
So
So
I
we
would
don't
just
need to-
kindly, there's
Yeah.
no action, just kindly ask if there's anyone here to,
Okay. Is there anyone here that would like to comment? Okay, I don't see anyone,
Okay.
so we can move on. Thank you.
thank you.
I always love talking about the Cadillac Commons.
Yes. Okay, thank you, Mayor and members of the City Council. We're now under adoption of ordinances and resolutions. This item A, the only item on the agenda, because we had to table B, is a resolution establishing the city position of Director of Public Safety and abolishing the position of Chief of Police. This is, really a sort of bittersweet moment in Cadillac history because we're going about doing this in light of our current police chief, Todd Galnick, retiring from the city of Cadillac after committing and dedicating 25 years to this community and to this organization. As I'm sure most of you know, Todd has been very much involved in helping in creating the Cadillac Community Partnership, which is a relatively new program still today between the public and the police department, and has really done a lot in the couple of years that he's been the chief in being progressive with the police department and moving it forward. But Todd does have his 25 years of service in essentially at the end of the month, and is looking at taking on new endeavors in his life outside of Cadillac. So that brings us back to a point in time where we need to fill the position. Currently, there is no chief in the fire department. The highest ranking position is at the captain level. The next highest ranking position in the police department is also at the captain level. And it's my recommendation this evening, looking at what I believe is best for the community, best for the public's health, safety, and welfare, is to bring back the position of Director of Public Safety accordingly. The action tonight that council makes is simply just that. It just simply brings the position back. Once the position is back this evening, that I then have the ability of moving it forward to the Civil Service Commission, who will work with who will work with staff in the development of the qualifications and then move forward with setting the proper testing standards and facilitating that process. The city council, after this evening, basically doesn't have a role at that point. It's a civil service commission responsibility from that point forward. The time frame that I believe this is going to take before we have this position back on board is likely on the short end, about 90 days, and that's on the short end, and that's because generally speaking, we provide 60 days from noticing of when the testing is going to be to allow folks to study for that test. And so, realistically, it's probably going to take longer than 90 days before this position is filled, but hopefully not much longer. We're looking at getting the ground running and getting the Civil Service Commission meeting, if not later this month, early next month accordingly. That basically wraps up my comments regarding this resolution this evening. I sincerely request that council consider approving it, and then we'll get to work on filling the job.
So has the Civil Service Commission met already related to this?
No. No, the Civil Service Commission's role in this filling of the position is just that. It's in filling the position. It's the role of the city council to create the position. It's the Civil Service Commission's role to establish the position responsibilities, job duties, things of that like. I have already worked with the police department and fire department and getting from those departments what they believe would make the ideal candidate from a position responsibility perspective, and intend to share that information with the Civil Service Commission accordingly, and providing them with some recommendations as to what those qualifications should look like.
I do have a question in regards to, if it's going to take 90 days, are we okay within the department staffing-wise to
Yes.
handle everything
Yes.
that we need
So
to handle?
the senior position currently is at the captain level in the police department, and that position will be responsible for the operations during this interim period of
Okay,
time.
all right.
So, like this position, to be sure, will just oversee both positions.
Correct.
Okay, yeah, both
Yes.
departments.
I'll make a motion to adopt the resolution establishing the position of Director of Public Safety and abolishing the position of Chief of Police.
Support,
Councilmember Ingalls, Meinhardt,
yes.
Shippers, Spelman,
Yes.
Mayor Folkins.
Yes, motion carries. All right, so we moved the next agenda item off to the next meeting. And so this evening, in our minutes and reports that have been provided to us, we do have the minutes to the last Historic District Commission for our review. And with that, I will open the floor for our final public comment. We do ask if you come forward that you do keep your comments to 3 minutes or less, that you state your first name, and you write down your name and address for the clerk.
Hello. Don Koschmeider, Cadillac, Michigan. Just picked up the Detroit Free Press today, and I noticed that they're mentioning medical marijuana facilities and whether different municipalities want to opt in or opt out. And it's a hot topic, there's no doubt about it. I lost my case, as you know. We gave her a good fight, helping people. There's still a need for it, regardless of what happened to me or not. You're going to see different cities, communities opting in, some opting out. There's going to be a lot of gunslingers, a lot of crazy wild, wild west between now and December 15th. You've heard about some indictments by the feds. People were trying to pay off local communities to get a license. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on. Wild Bill's Tobacco, I'll bet you they get a license for sure. It says here that, was it Grass Point Township? They wanted to opt out. They said that medical marijuana is a gateway drug to heroin. Boy, they must be getting their information from Jason Elmore or somebody, but that's not true. Would really like you guys to do a little research, please, on medical marijuana. Don't believe all the lies and all the hype, please. It's really helping a lot of people. Thank you so much for your service.
Thank you.
Okay, seeing no one else, we'll close public comment. And does anybody have anything for the good of the order this evening?
It's been a few years, I believe, since the city has been involved in a household hazardous waste day. A council member reached out to me a week ago to take a look at where things stand, and I can advise that we are looking at how we can do it on our own. There used to be a grant in place and a collaborative effort with the county. I can advise that we believe we can take on that responsibility, offer it to the city of Cadillac residents and perhaps some others that are a party to, or perhaps soon may be a party to our wastewater treatment facilities, and look at putting something in place. Whether it happens between now and when the snow falls, I couldn't exactly tell you, but certainly something that we're looking at doing in earnest, and I believe we have a way of funding it as well. So, just
Wonderful.
wanted to give sort of a good news update on that front.
That's great.
Do you think we'd be able to offer that to other people outside of what you mentioned if we charge? at
That's
the-
what we're looking
At
at.
the entry for it, because I know a lot of people who live out in the county and other places that I think, they ask me about it all the time, so I think they would participate in it, even if they needed to charge. It's unfortunate that we can't come up with a way to do it for the whole county. They just had one last week in Missaukee County for any county resident.
Was it
And there
through
was
the
one
county?
Yeah, and no, it was through the Soil Conservation District, and there was one in Manistee County on Saturday also through the Soil Conservation District, and it was for anybody who owned property in that county.
Mm.
But I appreciate at least the city doing it. It's so important to do. I appreciate you getting on top of that.
That's something that's been needed for a while.
Yeah.
Good. All right. Does anyone have anything else?
I do. Just a couple of comments. We had the movie in the park last Friday. It was Beauty and the Beast. The Rotary Club sponsored that. And if you remember, last Friday wasn't a very nice day. In
It
fact,
wasn't.
it was pretty misty, rainy all day. We didn't have a very big turnout, but a little bit of sun did come out about 7 o'clock, so we thought we were okay and went ahead with the movie. The city staff that helped with that was excellent. We had one minor technical difficulty that was corrected right away. And even though it was, I guess it was family entertainment. I usually think of things like Beauty and the Beast as for children, but my husband and I sat there and it started raining. And we sat there the whole time. We still we're laughing about it now that I can't believe we actually sat there in the rain. But everybody did. At that point, they were so engrossed in the movie that they wanted to finish it. It was a good memory. I want to talk a little bit about the upcoming concert in the park that the Rotary is sponsoring, and this is this Wednesday, August 23rd. Luke Winslow King will be playing. We're getting to the end of the summer season with our concerts at the Rotary Pavilion, so I hope the weather's great and everybody comes out to a great concert. Luke Winslow King is a local musician who has gone on and had some fabulous concerts throughout the world. He's very well known on the European circuit. And we're lucky to have him come back every summer for a nice concert. So that'll be Wednesday at 7 o'clock. Spread the word.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
I was just gonna say, it was, the concert and that were all nice down there,
Mhm.
and we did have somewhat of a decent turnout for the weather.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I think that just the whole Cadillac Commons area this summer, it's been really exciting to see the number of people that have come out. And it's not just people from here. You know, you go to these events and you see so many new faces. So they may be from here and maybe they weren't down there before, but it's certainly turning into what we had all envisioned it to be.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yep.
So,
Nice.
all right. If there's nothing else, then we'll go ahead and adjourn the meeting.